Chatterbox Bengals, Week 12. About 8:05 to go in the ball game. The Bengals are down 6 points. We're going to see what Jake Browning's got. Reider with Just Eric today. I had the dubious honor of hosting when Joe Burrow went down. That wasn't a whole lot of fun, so hopefully we get a lot more fun here in the final few seconds. Jake Browning to Tanner Hudson. It's always funny. I don't know, Eric, if you've noticed, whenever a backup quarterback comes in, they always, dial up throwing to somebody who never gets the ball. And I know Tanner Hudson has been a more important part of the game, but, Tanner Hudson, Trenton Irwin, Drew Sample, all these guys getting the ball, it's just hilarious.
9 different people, man, touched the ball in that first half, dude. And, they got some good distribution going on.
All right, let's go. Second and come on. Let's see what we got.
The Steelers are just – those pass rushers are just –
I don't think you could pay me enough, but being the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals seems like it seems dangerous. Not a lot of fun.
Man, it seems like one of those the ultimate ninja challenge, man. But it's only these these massive people are coming after you. Humans.
Right.
Trying to hit you as hard as they possibly can. Man, they gotta
need this. It's also it's so funny that we haven't ran the ball at all, Eric. It is so get him!
Oh my gosh!
God damn, Jonah.
How does that happen?
How do you let TJ Watt go unblocked? Completely unblocked. How does that happen? This
is what Joe Burrow was working behind, man.
Drew!
That's Drew Sample.
Drew, I ain't gonna get mad at Drew.
You love Drew. Is that Drew in your background right there?
What the hell?
That's Drew in the screensaver, man, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Drew. That's Drew.
I knew you can't say anything bad about Drew.
I'm not going to, but golly, if there's anybody on the field that you block, it's that man, TJ Watt. All right.
Man, it's TJ Watt.
There's so much time left. There's still a lot of time. We can't let them score. They are currently, this game, they have, gone 60 straight games. Have you seen this? They've gone 60 straight games without having 400 yards of total offense.
And where are they at right now? Are they at 400 yards?
372. The Bengals had given up 950 in their previous 2 games, and we're going to give up 400 yards to the Steelers.
Doesn't that feel like a theme this year, though? My bad, dude.
No.
Doesn't that feel like a theme this year? On defense, we've been making history on a lot of for some bad reasons this year, man. Honestly, we really have when you look back at a couple different things.
Yeah, we were giving the defense a lot of credit, when we were on that run, and rightfully so. Yeah. Seahawks, they get in the red zone 4 different times and come up with about 3 points out of that. But it's I think Game On brought up this point. A lot of defensive woes have been masked by turnovers. And it happened today. The Steelers had 250 yards of offense in the first half. Had 3 points to show for it, but 250 yards of offense. And that's because turnovers, bending, not breaking. I don't know if the Steelers have had a 3-and-out yet.
I don't think.
I'm looking right now.
They had the turnover. I don't know if they had a 3-and-out, but no, man, Game On's 100% right, man. The defense, the turnovers were they're first in the NFL, tied with the Steelers for forced turnovers, right in the differential. And man, it just if you are scoring points on offense when you get those turnovers, it completely nullifies the fact that you're giving up yards. But if you're not, and you're in 7 to 13 games, and you only got 7 points, you're on the opposite end. It just doesn't the bend don't break mentality, or I guess the don't let them score, but just get them on the ground or try to create a turnover.
Right.
It's great until it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at this point right now, with Jake Browning, Joe Burrow out, of course you got incredible weapons. Dude, man, it's tougher than ever to score points, honestly. Yeah, man. So good old Survivor, man. But this is man. That's my show, man.
You like Survivor?
Oh man, that's my show, man. I think I'm gonna try to go on there. I'm gonna try to get on the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
But can we survive this game and get a win? You know what I'm saying? Can we do that?
Can we?
Joe Burrow looks sad, man. Dude, he looks so sad, man. He's killing me when I see him on the side.
Kendrick. Oh, hey. Oh my God. Oh my dude.
Oh my goodness.
What are we missing defensively?
You know what, man? I don't want to say it. Look, I'll say it. We got some dogs on defense, bro. We're missing the dog. It could be Jordan Battle, who I think will emerge, but we're missing like an alpha on defense that can rally the troops and just sets the tone. You know what I mean? Right, we need a guy to just land base somebody on defense, man.
Well, like obviously the biggest pieces that have been gone this year are safeties.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Jesse Bates and Vaughn.
But like I have a hard time believing that safeties are the reason that we're getting gashed every game.
I think the safeties are a big part, man. I think you know what, man. I think Von Bell, honestly, to be honest, Reed, I think Von Bell was a bigger loss than Jesse Bates. And the reason I'll say that is, yes, we knew Jesse was gone, but Von Bell was the life and blood of the defense. He was the first guy in the building, last guy out. He was coordinating his own meetings with the defensive backs. So, like, when you lose a guy like that, you lose so much on your defense. And it has showed up, man. You know what I mean? It has showed up big time.
Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers for getting over 400 yards of offense for the first time this millennium.
Oh, man, dude. You hate to see it, man. Lou Anarumo is going to be back, man.
I mean, we have 175 yards of total offense this game.
Dude, man. What is Zach? Look, Zach Taylor to me we can be like the 49ers in a sense, right? 49ers, AFC North. You have all the weapons. Maybe your running back isn't Christian McCaffrey. You don't have George Kittle, but you got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Make some things happen, man.
Well, I mean, I don't want to compare us to the 49ers. That seems there's not all pros at every position level like the 49ers have. But I mean, this team's well, the defense, we're talking about the defense, but it might have just caught up to the Bengals not having elite guys, right? We've always said that besides Trey Hendrickson, that this team doesn't really have any elite guys. A lot of good players, right? Logan Wilson's a good player. Sam Hubbard's a good player. Yeah. Cam Taylor-Britt might get to the elite level someday, but, at this moment he's pretty good, and the safeties were pretty good. But it's just catching up to them that there's just been a major step back. Can we get lucky? Boswell has not missed a field goal this year. I think the only one he has missed is like a 62-yarder. Can we put them and get a miss?
Where are you at? Are you on second down or are you on fourth?
I'm on second. I'm just saying.
Oh,
can we hold it? Well, if they're scoring a touchdown, the game's over.
Okay.
Yeah, we need a turnover or we need a miss. Boswell to miss his first freaking field goal all year. I'm on second and 11. All right, that's a good stuff.
Okay,
that's a good stuff.
Get a little stuff right there.
That's a good stuff. That's some stuff.
Give yourself a chance, boys.
156 yards of rushing again for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so we're doing that again.
If you're the Bengals, man, this is like that year you went to the Super Bowl, the year you went to the AFC Championship. You cannot forget the reason you went there is because you brought in free agents. Joe Burrow was a big part of that in Jamar Chase. Absolutely. Right. But you brought in free agents on defense that made an impact, and they cannot, be really frivolous in the offseason, man, when it comes to it. You have to get some more players in this room, man. This is the window. This is it.
Right.
If you want to win a bowl, this is it.
Can we get to him? Hi.
Yeah, that's my daughter, man.
Can we get a miss? Can we get a miss?
Boswell's been automatic, though, huh?
His only miss this year is a 61-yard field goal.
She's right up in there. Look, say hi.
What's her name?
Hazel.
Getting your Chatterbox Bengals debut, Hazel.
Yeah, you made it. Look at you. Go check on Mom. Someone's banged up, huh? Hey, can you give this to Mom? Yeah.
Who is that? I can't tell who it is.
I think it's Logan Wilson.
No. Was it?
Yeah, I think it's Logan.
Is it Logan? It is Logan.
It's Logan Wilson.
Shit. I mean, I don't know what people's expectations were going into this week. It seemed like vibes were just down. We were down at the Banks earlier today, and just the vibes weren't the same down there.
Yeah.
But man, they lose this game, then vibes are just off. Were you pro starting Jake Browning or AJ McCarron? That was a talk this week.
Oh, dude, man, I'm AJ McCarron all the way.
Really?
Man.
I
think AJ McCarron. I think the guy. Let me see. I think the guy, that coach Peyton Manning, and he's like, guys, the backup doesn't get any reps because coach says if the backup goes out, we're screwed anyway.
Right.
I feel like either way it goes, you're in a terrible situation with, Jake Browning and AJ McCarron. But I feel like AJ McCarron might give you something that, I don't know, man, just something a little different where you're under center. He's not looking to scramble. He's just distributing the ball on time. You know what I mean? And look, he played in the XFL. It's probably not much considering he already had a chance in the NFL, but man, I'm pro AJ McCarron, man, honestly. But I think the Bengals are screwed.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't matter either way. But I was pro Jake just because I feel like the ceiling's a little higher there. Like, I know what I'm getting with AJ McCarron. It's not that much fun. Did we get a miss? Nope. All right. Game over.
He makes it.
Game over.
That's the game, man. You got to go. It's game over. What? Try to go score quick and then kick it onside? It's like we're playing Madden right here.
Yeah, they used all their timeouts. That's game over.
They used all their timeouts?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I was driving in watching this game, so I didn't see that. When did they burn the timeouts?
They used them that drive.
I mean, but did Zach Taylor coach like a guy today who had a backup quarterback and was playing to win? Like, you know what I mean? He didn't coach like that today, man.
Well, like, everyone talked about how they were going to try and muddy up the game, right? Run the ball a lot, try to limit the game. You're playing the Steelers. Can you win a hard-nosed, muddy football game? And they didn't even try that. Eric, they didn't even try it. And we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we talk about play calling once we get into the show. But I mean, they've ran the ball. Eric, guess how many run plays they have this game?
8.
Man, I'm trying to pull it up. I think Joe Mixon's only gotten the ball 4 times.
Yeah, I think Joe's got like 4 to 5 times, maybe 6.
He's now got 8.
And I think
he had 3 last drive, so he's up to 8 carries.
Is 8 carries total for the game?
11 total. Jake ran for 3. Jake the Snake.
Okay. But 8 called run plays, man, for the running backs. Dude, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, man. I didn't even realize that. I was driving down. I was on the road coming back from the Thanksgiving trip.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And I was driving down, and I'm looking at the screen right
here.
Joe
go, Joe. Go, Joe. Go, Joe. Go. Ah!
There you go.
All right. Okay.
You said he didn't have the juice no more.
Okay.
Great play, man. Great run by Joe Mixon.
I was going to say, how many yards? Had 175 today. Jake Browning, I think they only had like 30 total yards of offense before that touchdown in the game last week.
Yeah. And, man, we've been getting lucky, man. 2 tip passes for catches. I mean.
Right. All right, here we go.
Fade ball to Jamar Chase or Yoshivash.
Are they going for the end zone?
Jake's got to throw the ball.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Here you go.
All right. Is that to Yoshi?
Yoshivash is the T. Higgins replacement, man.
You think so?
Look, I know the kid.
Come on.
Man, I think he's it, man.
I mean, he might. He might be, but like, is that a good replacement, or is that like getting rid of a Mercedes for a Honda Accord? Like, that's certainly a replacement to your car, but
that's true. So I would say. So look, hear me out with this.
I'm listening. I'm right here.
I would say T. Higgins is a Mercedes. Okay, he's a Benz. Very nice, clean.
Sure.
Probably got I'm not gonna say the mileage, but he's a low mileage car. Very high class, okay? Andre Yoshivash is he's like a – hard to say, man.
A Toyota Camry.
I wouldn't say Toyota. I'd probably say he's like a Ford Mustang. You know what I mean? But a V6. He's got a V8, but the body shell is a V6, okay? So you're looking at it, you're like, man, do I really want this car? Can I take this car to the track and win some races? But look, you don't know. It's a V8 under that hood, baby. And he can go. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's got a more athletic pro upside than T. And I think for the price, he could be a perfect fit, man. If he can catch the ball and just win what we're asking him to win. Kicking the field goal, huh? Damn, I hate some of Zach's decisions, man.
You got to kick the field goal here. You make it a one-score game.
You do?
Yeah, and then you make it a one-score game.
What are the percentages though, man, on getting an onside kick? It might be a 10% chance. You know what I mean?
Their chances of winning right now are
game's probably over, dude.
It's over. It is over if they don't get the onside kick.
How do you do the onside? Just go. It's 4th and 2, coach.
Well, you got to get the onside kick anyway, so might as well give you plenty of time.
Man, let them hang out though, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Joe Burrow has been there at the game, but sitting out of the way, huh?
Yeah, he hasn't. Haven't seen him off the bench a whole lot.
Yeah, at all.
He's just been hanging out.
Dude, Zach Taylor running the ball 8 times is a crime. It really is, man. Need to get FBI on this and see what's going on, man.
According to ESPN, the Steelers have a 99.9% chance of winning this game. Let's play it's wrong. Let's play it's wrong. Let's give us something to yell about here. Come on.
Little onside kick.
Oh, come on,
nice
Mac.
Little pop-up by McPherson.
Come on, Mac.
Money Mac for the onside kick win? Or we kick the on? Well, you can't advance it, huh?
You played college football, right?
I did, man.
Did you ever on the field for an onside kick recovery?
I was, man. I was on the hands team. I didn't have the hands. I was on the front line. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you're the dude that has to go hit. You got to go hit.
Yeah, that's me, man. I'm not catching the ball. You know what I mean? I like to think I can catch, but the coaches didn't think I could. So there you go. What they told me.
Jacksonville's going to beat Houston. Saw that coming from a mile away.
Man, I probably had a bad take earlier, man. I just think the Texans are really good, man. I think they're they're fine. Like, I think they might be a playoff team. They're going to be contending for a playoff spot, but I think people just bought in way too quickly on them. I want to see that's what it is?
I want to see a little bit more sustained success.
I'm people, man, honestly. I feel like they're the Bengals of 2020.
No.
When they went to the bowl.
No. All right.
Let's see if Money Mac
Come on,
do
Mac.
This, man.
Come on, Mac.
Do it for the people, man, of Cincinnati. Okay, he switches sides.
Big bounce. Ah!
Oh! Right. That was actually a good kick, though.
That was a good kick.
Gave the boys a chance.
Are you in favor of the NFL changing the onside kick rule? Have you heard this?
What's the new kick rule?
They want to change it to where it's not an onside kick, but it's a 4th and 15 play.
Dude, I think it would be more exciting 4th and 15, but I think you should only be able to use it one time in a game.
So you get one.
I think
you probably would only get one though.
That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Like you can only do it one time in a game. Because think about it, it could get really crazy. I don't know. Maybe it would be barely used,
but
in the playoffs.
It's 4th and 15 from your own. I think like 25. I think is what it is.
Okay.
So you have to get to the 40-yard line. So if you don't get a play, you're giving them the ball on the 25-yard line, which at the end of the game you don't care about, but it negates it from you trying it in the third quarter.
But I think the onside kick in general, you probably have a 10% chance, maybe less than 10% to get it.
Less than that, yeah.
4th and 15, you probably have like somewhere around 30% chance. Could vary based on the people, the X's and O's. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Jimmys and the Joes, man. So, dude, I like the 4th and 15 idea, though, honestly. I just think the way it would be interesting to see it implemented. I feel like I'm an old school guy, man. I do like special teams. I like kickoff and kick return still being a part of the game. You know what I mean?
Right,
so when you said that, part of me was like, oh, I don't take it, you know? But really, what? It's onside kick. 10% chance of the play having success.
Whenever I didn't play football at a high level, but anytime I played, I was always on the wedge. They always threw me on the wedge.
Oh, you were a wedge guy.
I was a wedge guy.
You were pressuring people out there.
I don't know if they just we gotta throw something together. Reed, you go out there, but I was always on the wedge.
Like send our hitman out there, Reed.
It was
tell him to go crush someone.
I hated every second of it.
Dude, the wedge is serious business, man. The wedge is serious business.
Always on the wedge. I was always on the punt return team, doing similar stuff too. But the wedge,
dude,
man.
The wedge is serious business, man. Those guys on the wedge, man. You don't mess with those guys, man. You know what I mean? Right. Those guys throw you out the club.
You could easily mess with me. 8 carries. 8 carries for 16 yards. What's crazy is, and this is what I always talk about when it comes to play calling, and once again, we'll get into this as the show goes on, once we really get the show going. But play calling is I feel like it's such a tired thing that fans complain about because it's all hindsight. If the Bengals went out there and scored 28 points doing this exact same thing, we'd be calling Zach Taylor a genius. We wouldn't be sitting there like, hey, why do we have a backup quarterback only hand the ball off 8 times? It would be this guy's a genius. Everyone thought they were going to run the ball and they just pass. But it doesn't work out. It's going to be the game. They're going to kneel it out.
Or do we get the ball back with 20 seconds? Why are they kneeling it out right at 2 minutes? Wait, what was the clock?
It was 2:03.
Oh, wait. Okay, I guess they're right. It's game over. It's game over. Yeah.
It is.
Jeez, I'm like, do we have life? Dang it, man. No, dude, I know exactly what you're saying, man. If the game plan was the exact same and we scored 28 points, no one complains. But we scored 10 points, everyone's like, fire Zach. And I think there's a happy medium there. We'll get into it. Joe Burrow's pissed, man. Joe's pissed, man. I hate that for him, man. I know he's in his head, man. He's devastated, dude. Understand the urgency, coach, and organization. I love you guys, man, but it's time to go get this, man. Go all out. You know what I'm saying? Go all out, man. The city deserves it, dude. Steelers are terrible, honestly.
People in the chat are getting on me about what I was just talking about play calling. And I want to specify. Today was atrocious. But
yeah.
It's just funny how if it would have worked, right? If they would have scored 24 points, we'd be sitting here, this guy's a genius. What a good game by Zach Taylor. Instead, we're just looking at it. And they only scored 10, right? You, as fans, you get to react to things.
Right.
And it didn't work. All right, well, that's the game. 16-10 final score. Bengals go to 5-6. Let's run the intro. All right, yo. This is Chatterbox Bengals, Week 12, 16-10. The Houston, or not the Houston Texans, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, rather, won 16-10. They go to 7-4. Bengals go to 5-6. Playoffs pretty much all for naught. Jake Browning gets to start his first career start, gives them a 7-3 lead, and then it was all pretty much bad from that point forward. Let's go through just how this game works. So opening drives, not a whole lot have happened. It went until the second quarter, or right towards the end of the first quarter, when the Pittsburgh Steelers go on a sustained drive to get 3 points. Bengals immediately answer back. Jake Browning gets into the red zone, finds Drew Sample, and we're going to talk about Drew Sample because I love my boy Drew Samp. He scores his third career touchdown, second this season. Bengals go into halftime up 7-3. Coming out of halftime, Bengals going on a drive deep in enemy territory. Jake Browning throws a really bad ball, really bad decision, throws a pick. Steelers turn it around and immediately go down the field, score, take the lead. They never gave it back up. Kick a field goal to make it a 2-score game late in the game. Bengals go down and score a big play from Joe Mixon on a screen play, but it just leads to 3 points. Don't get the onside kick, and that's the game. Pretty much exactly how everyone expected this one to go, Eric, where it was going to be a low-scoring game, a sloppy game, a gross game. The Pittsburgh Steelers are never fun to watch, and certainly the Bengals without Joe Burrow aren't a whole lot of fun to watch. But Bengals were in it late. I mean, it was a one-score game to the final 3 minutes, and then it wasn't, and that was it. Overall reaction before we get into the J-Bar and the things that we're going to talk about today, like play calling, Drew Sample, Jake Browning, Miles Murphy. What's your overall reactions of this game?
Man, overall reaction for me, man, let me turn my mic up. Overall reaction for me is, man, the beginning of the game, it felt like the boys were fighting. Defense still was giving up a little bit too much. But when it all comes down to it, and, you know, I talk to people, and we want this team to win, and they're like, oh, this team's still going to fight. Man, I didn't see any fire from Zach. I didn't see any fire from nobody on the field. Just felt like guys were out there, going out there, all right, man, break, go run, out routes. I felt like there was an energy missing from the game. And I understand that comes with Joe Burrow being out. But, man, I was just kind of hoping to see a little bit more of that energy. And to be honest, Reed, this was one of the most winnable games on the schedule.
Yeah, no doubt about
it. This is definitely a tough loss for the Bengals and the Bengals faithful.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, when we were watching the game, is what were your expectations going into this game? I personally had no expectations. After Joe Burrow went down, season's over, you pack it up. Maybe, if this team could have went on a 5-2 run or a 4-3 run and snuck in at 9-8, you get into the postseason, you're still not even excited to be there really because you know that there's not a real possibility of getting deep. But all that being said, I couldn't get up to watch this game. Me and my friends, we're all huge Bengals fans. I show them you have a group chat of people that you talk to the Bengals about a lot.
Yeah.
Not a single text. Not a single text coming up before the game. The first text that was sent in the group chat was sent in the middle of the second quarter. So the expectations were just gone. I mean, everyone that's watching in the chat, please tell me what you were expecting coming to this. We went down to the Banks. We did a live show. Chatterbox did. We did a live edition of Off the Bench with Thom Brennaman. And people were still going to the game. The Banks were still a lot of people. But there just wasn't the same energy. There weren't people yelling, "Hoo Day," down the street. It's normally like a chorus of Hoo Days. There was a few people, getting excited. Some people drunk, just going, "Hey, Hoo Day, let's go." But everyone knew that the season was dead. You held out a tiny glimmer of hope. You held out a tiny glimmer of hope because you play the Pittsburgh Steelers twice. You play the Colts with a backup quarterback. You play the Minnesota Vikings with a backup quarterback. You play the Cleveland Browns with a backup quarterback. So you're sitting there going, hey, all these teams are good teams, solid teams, 500 and above teams. But they didn't have their guys under center, and we all know how important a quarterback is. So you're like, maybe we could keep it alive. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And before we get into, because I think the biggest thing that we want to talk about is what the coaches had to this. And I think we've got a lot of opinions on this, but I just wanted to say shout out to my boy Drew Sample. I've been preaching it for weeks. You get Drew Sample in open space, watch what happens.
What's he going to do, man? He's going to take it to the crib.
It is objectively funny, Eric, that Drew Sample's touchdown, he actually ran into I think it was Mitch Wilcox. Actually, I got the play right here. Yeah. I'm going to play this for you.
Wish I had the song.
I mean, just
objectively
funny. Right here.
Jake Browning gets his first TD, right?
That's
a ball fake.
He had a second
TD.
Yeah, he had one. Right here. Runs right into his boy, Mitch Wilcox.
Oh, my gosh. He annihilates him. You know? He annihilates him. Great play there, man.
It's so funny that Drew Sample runs in his own player on his thing because it's all a shtick. But shout out to my boy Drew. All right, let's get into what we really came here to talk about, and that is the Bengals. And I talked about this on the show this week on Thom's show that this was an opportunity for Zach Taylor as much as it was an opportunity for Jake Browning. Jake Browning's been floating around 100%. The league for 5 years, right? He finally gets a start, finally get a chance to show what he can prove, and we'll talk about how he performed today. But Zach Taylor, a lot has been made. There's always the question, who gets more credit, the head coach or the starting quarterback? I think everyone here in Cincinnati, everyone around the league knows that Joe Burrow should get way more credit than Zach Taylor. This was a chance for Zach Taylor to go, listen, people have been naysaying me, saying that I can't call game. Everyone's been complaining about the play call and everything like that. But this was my opportunity to go out there and scheme a win, and he didn't come close, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think – look, I talked about the 49ers, in the pre-show when we were watching the game. And I'm not saying the Bengals have all pros across the roster like the 49ers, okay? But what I am saying is that the Bengals have weapons. And one thing that the 49ers do very well is that, yes, they do have a bunch of all-stars, but they also do a great job of confusing defenses and making them read their keys. When you have an offense, when you're losing your star quarterback and you just need to get things going, you have to be able to be creative and not make things so vanilla. I felt like today, it did feel like a Burrow script today, man. And I love Joe Burrow. I love what they do, but I felt like Zach Taylor was just as unprepared for this game as Jake Browning. And I hate to say that, but when you have a backup quarterback, there's different levels of expectations. If you're a top coordinator or offensive mind in this league, you got to be able to score more than 10 points, right? But we were scoring 10 points with Joe Burrow. Right. So there's things in question here, and I'm not saying fire Zach Taylor. I'm not one of those people, although I think everybody has to take a hard look at themselves at the end of the season if they go completely defeated, as some people would say. But I think when you look at this team and you look at what happened today, the Steelers are not a good team, guys. Defense is good, no doubt. Okay, they got TJ Watt. But, you could have scored more than 10 points. You got a turnover basically at midfield, and you made nothing happen on it. Right. And I saw no aggressiveness from a play calling perspective.
Yeah, just the fact that we it's almost like Zach was trying to do an FU to the fans, to the media, because everyone saw backup quarterback, right? Everyone's been begging the Bengals to run the ball, even when Joe Burrow was healthy. And they say, hey, backup quarterback, everyone's been wanting you to run the ball. Joe Mixon has looked good when he's had the ball this year.
Yeah.
What do? They hand the ball off 8 times to Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
the ball off 8 times. I said personally, the one thing that I liked, whenever someone would ask me about A.J. McCarron or Jake Browning, who I wanted to start, I always said that I wanted to go with Jake Browning because I thought the ceiling was higher. The reason I thought the ceiling was higher was I thought he had some mobility there. I thought that he added an extra element in the game that even Joe Burrow couldn't do. Now, I'm not comparing the two, obviously. I'm just saying that with Jake Browning, you can run some read options. You can run some, running back or quarterback design runs. You can get him going. He had 40 rushing yards against the Baltimore Ravens, the number 1 defense in the league. And even with him, he only gets loose 3 different times. You drop him back 26 times. 26 times on 37 plays. And it wasn't like they were behind 2 scores the entire game, and you're like, all right, we got to throw the ball to get back in this thing. No. There was clearly not an effort to get any sort of a muddy game going against a team that you should. A team you absolutely could have had success. A lot of people could say that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a great defense. It's pretty good, but they are like near the bottom of the league in run defense.
Statistically,
they're near the bottom of the league and are they middle of the pack in pass defense. The reason that everyone thinks they're so good is because they get turnovers and they force one today. But it's just so inept that they couldn't even say, hey, Jake, we want you to hand the ball off to our Pro Bowl running back that is one of the highest paid running backs in the league that has played well this year. They couldn't even say, hey, just do this for us. No.
Yeah.
They drop him back 26 times, and what do you get? You score 10 points on a bad team.
And man, yes, Jake Browning, I thought he looked a little bit better than I thought he was, to be honest, because I thought Jake was going to be completely terrible, to be honest, guys. He looked a lot better than I thought, to be honest. But it's not even – that wasn't even so much on Jake. It's just on, like, the play calling. When we talk about Zach Taylor, we talk about him having a feel for the game, right? Mm-hmm. Late in the game, third quarter, you're on the opponent's 20-yard line, and you just got to have it, man.
Right.
4th and 2. You know what I mean? You're taking the field goal. But you just got to have it. In certain moments, it's just like you don't understand. Just like in the Super Bowl, I hate to go back, Joe Mixon's got the hot hand. You go away from running the ball. It's like at some point, Zach has to understand. I know he's smarter than me, okay? He's a football coach in the NFL, smarter than me. I'm not saying I'm smarter than him. But what I am saying, he has to get a better feel for the game because he is literally crippling this team. And today, I thought was more reflection of Zach Taylor than anybody that stepped on that field today, including Jake Browning, if I'm being honest.
Listen, if the Bengals went into this with a clear thought to hand the ball off, right, like we all expected, and they lose 16-10, but Joe Mixon runs for 110 yards.
Yeah.
And we get a late score or something like that, you'd feel way better about this team. It was almost like Zach Taylor was like sticking his middle finger to the fans and just saying like, hey, you think we're going to run the ball? No, we're going to play our game. We're going to throw the ball the entire time. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And there's going to be a section because this season, I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell you fans, there's not a whole lot of people here. There's like 30 plus people here. This season's not going to end well. You guys know this. Yeah. I know this. There's going to be some losses. There's going to be some lumps going forward. There's going to be some people out in the media calling for Zach Taylor's head. I am not ready to fire Zach Taylor when he coached 4 games with a banged-up quarterback and then coached 7 games with a backup quarterback. I'm not ready to fire him for a season on that. I do think that there will be change in some capacity, whether it's Brian Callahan gone or Zach Taylor at least giving over the responsibilities of play calling to somebody else. There's going to be a change that needs to be made. And my take has always been the most tired thing a coach can do or a fan can do is complain about the play call. But here I am, and it's inexcusable what we saw today. Absolutely inexcusable.
Man, I think – yeah, man, I do think the play calling, complaining is kind of like – it's almost like, well, what exactly are you saying, the play calling, when you complain about it? Right. I think for me is like, man, the feel and then like the lack of commitment to go under center when you have these things, when you whooped a team on the West Coast who were Super Bowl contenders and you had a lot of under center plays and you just completely abandon that. I hope the change that they look at, Reed, I hope the change is that, guys, it's going to be a long season. We're all still here for the ride, okay? Who Dey? Going to put my orange shirt on every single week. Going to have my orange hat on every single week. It's Who Dey all day to the max. But I hope the biggest change is that they come back and they look at the end of the season and they say, Zach, look, man, you got to let go of play calling. The guys love you, dude, but you got to get a guy in here that's going to dial it up and put these guys in the best position to win. There's no reason, Reed, even at this point, this team should be 5-6. I get Joe Burrow was banged up. Okay, I get it. But to be 5-5 with this team, and we see teams all the time with guys that are banged up go on and win and find a way to win. The Steelers were 6-4 coming into this spot, and they literally have one of the worst quarterbacks in football. And he's fully healthy, but he's one of the worst.
Right.
He really is bad, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to get out of there. And they're 6-4? Makes no sense to me.
Kenny Pickett, you want to talk about, and it's not on the J bar, but we can get into this about the defense. They have now given up 500-plus yards to the Houston Texans, 450 yards to the Baltimore Ravens, and then gave up 400-plus yards to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers hadn't had 400 yards in a game in 60 games. We are out here talking about Kenny Pickett and how terrible he is. He went 24 for 33 with 278 yards. I don't want to burn my eyes and pull up Kenny Pickett's game log, but I guarantee 278 yards might be it's certainly a top 5 game for him. It might be his best game on record.
Might be a career high for him.
Might be a career high, and he did it against the defense. And yes, I get it. The defense is banged up, right? Cam Taylor-Britt couldn't play. I believe Jermaine Pratt was hurt, right? But he played.
He was in and out of the game today. Yeah,
right?
He was in and out.
Logan Wilson went down. We finally got Sam Hubbard back, but still, 278 yards to Kenny Pickett is inexcusable.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. They did nothing special. You know what I mean? It just seemed like – and look, they scored 16 points. Wasn't anything crazy. You know what I mean? They have 2 field goals, to get to 16. I mean, dude, it wasn't anything crazy. It just was the fact that when they needed it the most, man, everything was open. They have to – and I get it. You lose Jesse Bates, you lose Von Bell. Like I was saying pre-show, I know we were kind of talking about – this is a big deal, to be honest. So I know we're kind of sticking on this topic. And this goes into play calling too because we're talking defensively. But Von Bell and Jesse Bates were a huge loss. In my opinion, Von Bell was the hugest loss because, like I said, he was a first guy in, last guy out type of guy, a leader on that defense. In fact, if you rewind back when they were playing the Steelers and Von Bell hits the guy, Juju Smith-Schuster, on the logo, that almost metaphorically – transcends the Bengals to the Super Bowl the next year because it's just like the mentality that they have. And when you look across this team, you look across this defense, you got a lot of players that can play very well. But we need the player or the guy to step up and say, hey, guys, we've been doing a lot of this bend, don't break stuff. We just can't bend. We got to make plays. We're not going to win every single one. Right. But we got to make plays and we got to make tackles.
Here's the thing, and you just brought up the 2 names that get thrown around a lot when we're talking about this defense. I think Mark Fetters brought it up in the chat. He said, this defense is taking a step back. We miss Bell and Bates. Certainly. 100%, certainly. Yeah. But I have a hard time believing that 2 safeties are the reason this defense went from a top 10 defense in the league to the bottom of the pack. They have given up an average of 450 yards over the last 3 weeks. You're telling me, and once again, injuries happen. But I felt like there was decent depth on this defense. But all of a sudden, we're looking at this defense like, is it solvable? Because you look at the pieces around, right? You look at what they've got. Where do you see the noticeable hole besides Nick Scott? Like Nick Scott's certainly a noticeable hole, but like
they're gonna have
But it's
My
not
bad to cut you off.
No, you're good. It's not an easy fix. Is all I'm saying. Like you could look at the Bengals offense back in 2021 and said, if this team gets a good offensive line, this team's going to put up 35 points a game. Obviously, I haven't gotten there yet. But those holes were easy to fix. You look at this team. Is it the pass rush? No, you got Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard, and you just drafted Miles Murphy. You got DJ Reader, BJ Hill on the line. Like, that should be good. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are pretty good linebackers. Cam Taylor-Britt, Owuzie, good cornerbacks. There's some depth there. Dax Hill has certainly started playing like a bona fide star, in all honesty.
Yeah, he's been stepping
absolutely. Up. And besides Nick Scott, there's no hole. But here we are giving up 450 yards a game.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I'll tell you what,
Tell
man,
me.
what I see when I look at this defense, okay? I see a defense that's predicated on getting home with 4, okay? We have not been able to do that. The good news is, which we'll talk about a little later, Miles did flash today. But I think they're predicated on getting home with 4. And to be honest, man, the loss of Von Bell and Jesse Bates to this defense, I truly believe, Reed, they were the heartbeat of the defense.
Really?
Love Logan Wilson, love Jermaine Pratt, okay? One of the best 2 linebacker duos in football. When things are going bad, okay, and you look around and you look at the team, we don't really see anyone like, all right, guys, maybe we're just not seeing it, but I don't see like a rally guy on the team when everything's going bad and someone's like, all right, dude, let's go, guys. I need you to make this play. I don't see anyone holding people accountable. You know what I mean? I just see a bunch of guys out there playing. Now, part of it is, too, Lou Anarumo didn't trust his safeties, man.
Yeah, he said that. He said that.
Didn't trust his corners. So, unfortunately, with that, heck, man, we're giving up so many yards because guys are learning this. Jordan Battle's learning the system. Lou Anarumo's learning what they can do. You know what I mean? Dax and Battle are together now for the first time, and straight up, man, it's just they're going to have to learn.
Yeah,
they're getting back right now.
Well, I guess the good thing about, if you want to find solace or if you want to find a good thing from where the Bengals are at going forward for the rest of this year, is they do play good teams. And if there are question marks, it gives you time to kind of sort it out, right? Because the expectations aren't really there. They might be in the clubhouse, right? They might look at themselves like, hey, we can still make the postseason. We can still get some things done. We still believe in Jake Browning, yada, yada, yada. All of that we know is just a bunch of bull junk. But at least you could start seeing guys like the recent draft picks, on the offensive side, Charlie Jones and Yoshivas, trying to get them involved. I would even give Chase Brown some reps at running back here and there to say like, hey, let's see what we got here. You can get, and we're going to talk about Myles Murphy later on in the show, but you can give him more reps. You can say, hey, Myles, you played well today. You're going to start getting a lot more snaps because we got to figure out what we have here. We used a first-round draft pick on you. You're going to start playing a lot more. So if you want to take solace there, sure, it gives the Bengals time to kind of figure out where they're going to be next year. Gives people time to find their roles and all that good stuff. But I got to ask you a question, Eric, and you said that you're not on the get rid of Zach Taylor this offseason, right?
Yeah.
I think you give Zach Taylor a lot of rope. I don't want him, even if they have a bad year next year. I wouldn't want to see him gone. And I'm saying that now. My mood, I'm giving myself the ability to change my opinion if that happens
absolutely.
next year. But
I want that too. I want that too, though. I want that too.
It's just the fact that I think it would blow up a locker room if you get rid of Zach Taylor, and I'm scared about that. You just mentioned Jesse Bates and Von Bell being the heartbeat of the defensive unit. I feel like these players like playing for Zach Taylor, and I don't want to blow that up just because I think he's a shitty play caller.
Yeah. I think Zach Taylor, now look, if he goes completely defeated and they don't win a game with Joe Burrow out of the lineup, dude, I hate to say it, but it's not going to happen. Okay, he just went to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, he's not getting fired.
Guys, it ain't happening. Okay, Zach's going to be here. But if it were me and I were objectively looking at the team, depending on what coach is available, if they don't win another game, I'm looking at Zach and I'm saying, dude, this is a Super Bowl window. Like, that's why this year for me, Reed, I'm not like, yes, I'm hurt that Joe Burrow's out, but my expectations now are like, well, hey, man, Super Bowl or bust for me. It looks like a bust. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think for Zach Taylor, man, it's just he's got to give up play calling. Yes, he's going to be here next year. He's a culture builder. But we need a coach, man, with some fire. We need someone getting the guys hype and just setting Joe Burrow for success. We really need Frank Pollock probably out of there, man. It's just not working,
that's not working.
He's got to go.
That's not working.
He's got to go, dude.
I talked about this with Game On last show I did, and it's the same question in essence to what I just asked about the defense. I look at the defense, and it should work because it worked last year, and you look at all the pieces, there's no holes. So when it's not working, how do you solve it? I look at these offensive linemen with the exception of Cordell Volson, and I say, you have been successful linemen in other areas. Orlando Brown, is the biggest free agent of the offseason. You get Kappa, you get Karras, you had La'el Collins last year. You get successful guys in other places. Then they come to Cincinnati, and you got Jake Browning and Joe Burrow running with their heads cut off. There's absolutely nothing. And then not even the ability to run the ball on top of that. So Frank Pollock has to go because I'm seeing too much talent go into that room, and you're not getting any return on that investment.
Yeah, man, people are going to tell you about athletic scores of the offensive linemen, and they're going to say, well, all these guys that we brought in were below average athletes. Well, guess what, people? When we brought them in, we weren't saying that. We were hyped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were, oh, my gosh, the bodyguard, Joe Burrow's not getting touched anymore.
Right.
Orlando Brown, biggest signing ever in Bengals history. Alex Kappa and Terry Cash, oh, my gosh, you signed a free agent 1 second into free agency. These are guys who maybe we're not asking for Philadelphia Eagles production. Mm-hmm. We're asking them to be middle of the pack. Let's get out the simple – maybe that's on the tight end coach. I don't know. At no time should there be miscommunications up front on the offensive line to where T.J. Watt is coming unblocked
untouched
twice in the same game. Twice, maybe 3 times if they don't call the play dead. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's just like, Coach, what are we doing, man? If the results don't change, the names do. And that's, sometimes if football is a hard business, you love Frank, great guy, probably would love to have a beer with him. But it just ain't working, Coach. We got to keep Joe Burrow upright, and we got to move on and get someone in here like the guy, hate to say it, up in Cleveland, who, hell, if we give him Joe Schmo from Kroger, he's going to teach him how to block, and he's going to be able to hold up at guard. You know what I'm saying? It's just got to improve, man. Got to improve.
I put in the chat a poll. Is Zach Taylor on the hot seat? I don't mean that like as a serious question. I just want to gauge the temperature. Yeah. I just want to gauge the temperature in the room. As we said, Zach Taylor's not going anywhere. If this year ends catastrophically, to where they finish 5-12, they finished 6-11, then there's certainly going to be some aspects of that coaching room that clear out. There's going to be, whether it's Brian Callahan, Frank Pollock, Lou Anarumo's safe, Zach Taylor's safe. Everyone else there's going to be some changes made there. But there's still 6 games. So I don't
absolutely, man.
Don't want to fire anybody yet.
I know we're about to get to JB6. I do want to say this though. I'm less worried about the defense than I am the offense, honestly.
Really?
When you saw that Ravens game last week and Joe Burrow was in there, they were playing very well. To be honest, maybe you need a couple guys, but they're playing very well when Joe was in there, and they were playing good defense. But and the good thing is too about that is Lou Anarumo likely he ain't getting a head coaching job. Okay, someone's gonna look at that and like, oh my God,
certainly not now.
This guy was 400 to Kenny Pickett? Absolutely not. You'll see in Cincinnati next year. So that's glass. That's the positive part. Sure. Some continuity there, and I think the defense will be okay. It's just this year, man, without your guy at the helm at QB, people really discounted how important Joe was, man, on Twitter.
Right.
They did, man. I mean, dude, I
hear it too, man.
I almost feel like I almost feel like Zach Taylor bought into the Jake Shiesty hype. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I get Jordan Palmer came on TV and said this guy was going to surprise a lot of people. But, guys, I watched them in college. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think people kind of bought into it. And look, they got 6 more games, like you said. But when you look at it, there are some positives to take out of this. But you got to keep things in perspective, to be honest,
As of this moment, 64% of the chat saying that Zach Taylor is on the hot seat.
Chat getting spicy.
Let's get into, Jake Browning. You brought him up right there. This is his debut as a starter. He obviously played his first meaningful snaps against the Ravens. People walked away from that game and said Jake Browning looked okay until the final drive where they scored a garbage time touchdown. They had 30 yards of offense. So I'm not buying that he looked okay. I'm not buying that at all. Today, he looked fine, right? He looked exactly what you expected a backup quarterback to do. It's not the fact that Jake Browning, they only had 200 yards or 175 yards of total offense. That's not on Jake Browning. It's the fact that you dropped him back 27 of 36 plays is where I have 100%. The problem. But as a player, can this guy win games? Sure. I'm starting to question how good this roster is, if I'm being quite honest with you, Eric. I'm starting to question how we talked about a Super Bowl winning roster. I don't necessarily think it's a Super Bowl winning roster. I think you have a Super Bowl winner as a quarter, like you have a guy that can win a Super Bowl at quarterback, and you have obviously some very special pieces around him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and then you go on the defensive side, Trey Hendrickson's obviously an elite player. But I mean, Jake Browning looked all right. He looked all right. I was a little disappointed I didn't see more running from him. I really thought that you were going to see more athleticism. Didn't see that at all, but he threw some nice balls here and there. He made a mistake. You expected, if you would have asked him for the game, is Jake Browning going to throw a pick? I would have said, yeah, he's going to throw a pick. He threw a pick. Yeah. Just happened to be in the red zone, so it stung, and it led to a touchdown the other way. But he looked fine, right? He looked like a backup quarterback.
Yeah. Man, I think – go ahead, brother. My bad.
I was just going to say, what was your opinion on Jake Browning and how he played today?
Man, I think and my daughter, she's going ham in the background. Most of you guys can hear. But I think
sick mom in that just Eric's household.
You know what I mean? Sick mom, energized child that does not have any off switch, so she can run all day. But I think Jake Browning, he was better than I expected, to be honest. I did think he was going to be – I thought he would be really bad, to be honest. He was better than I expected. Although my expectations of Jake Browning were very low. Okay, I did not – I know people were expecting him to come in, win 4 games, take the Bengals to the playoffs. That was not my expectation, okay?
Well, that was
my expectation was give the boys a chance every week, okay? Just give them a chance. Keep them in the game, distribute the ball. Let's see some guys, see how they shine and see if they can play ball and get ready for next year. But I did not expect Jake Browning to be this – Brock Purdy prospect out of nowhere to come into the Bengals system and succeed, because I'd seen him before in college. But I do think you could win with this guy, but it just has to be a specific way, man. You can see at times he relies a lot on his athleticism, and he's got some wheels, no doubt. But it's the NFL, man, and he'll learn eventually that you can't hold the ball that long. That comes with reps. But I just was not – it almost seemed like to me Jake was like – and maybe he's getting his coaching from Burrow or the coaches. He's like looking at the first guy, and if it's not there, he's running or he's throwing it. On that play where he throws the interception, got to give it to the Steelers there, right? That's a hell of a play by the defenders, okay? Mm-hmm. The corner's dropping off. Looks like he's playing cover 3, and the linebacker actually shoots out to the flat and picks that ball off. So that's a really good look from them. But it seemed like he was more or less just kind of locked in on one guy. And we really got lucky, man. Should have had 2 picks, maybe 3 today, honestly. Should have had 3 maybe.
Right.
They got tipped, and then Jamar Chase catches the ball because he's different and makes a play out of it. Mm-hmm. So I thought JB6 was better than I thought. My expectations aren't high on him. Maybe he surprises me. But, man, we got a tough road, man. This was the most winnable game on the schedule.
You really think so? You think so?
I think it was, man. I think the
more
Colts,
so than the Colts, I think the Vikings are going to fall apart. If I'm being honest with you.
Where do we play the Colts at? Do we play them in Indy?
We play them 2 weeks at home.
Oh, at home. The Colts is a winnable game too. I guess I wasn't really thinking about that. Maybe the Colts is a winnable game too. I think it's winnable, and then the Vikings as well too. But I know they're getting Justin Jefferson back, so we'll see how that goes. We've been giving up so many passing yards, man. Anybody who has weapons, dude, I'm afraid. You know what I mean? Because I know we ain't scoring 21 points with people, 21 plus. So, man, I felt like this was the game. I really do, man. I felt like, and not to ramble, right? But I felt like this game in particular was so – now, I'm one of the guys who I probably thought we were going to lose today, guys, just being honest, being direct, okay? My hopes were I've been a little down in the dumps since Joe Burrow got hurt. Just being honest, I've been down the dumps. But this was a game I felt like if the Bengals could win this game, that would give everybody a little bit of extra juice to say, hey, guys, we can do this. You know what I mean? Going into these other games, going into the primetime game versus Jacksonville, going into some of these other spots where you're like, hey, maybe we can do this. Oh, crap. What happened to me? Can you see me?
You're gone, or you can hear you. I can hear you, just Eric, but I can't see you. We got a nice screenshot of you talking.
So, man, let's keep going while I try to figure this out.
Yeah, you figure that out. I'll make this point about Jake Browning and a lot of talk, and I brought this up earlier in the show. A lot of talk was brought about who Cincinnati Bengals fans wanted to start, whether it be AJ McCarron, who was MVP of the XFL, I believe. Don't hold me to that last year. Or Jake Browning, who has been in the league, floated around the league for 5 years now, and this was his first career start. I said from the get-go, I'd rather have Jake Browning because I felt like there was a higher ceiling there. I felt like AJ McCarron comes out on the field, I know what I'm getting, right? I know that I'm getting a guy that isn't going to win you a game. And maybe Jake Browning's not that guy either, but AJ McCarron is a guy that – he's gonna make the easy throw, and all this. I'd feel differently if the Bengals were 12-2, and Joe Burrow's out for 3 weeks, and you just want to get somebody back there to kind of win you a game. But no, at 5-5, I want somebody that can make the big play. I don't think A.J. McCarron can make the big play. Maybe Chat feels a lot differently, but who cares? And Sean Connor brought up something in the chat. He said Steelers had 68 plays, the Bengals had 41. The reason for that is exactly what we talked about, is the fact that the Bengals can't run the ball. You stay on the field. There's no continuity with this offense. There's none. And I've defended this offense all season long. Earlier in the year, it was Joe Burrow's injury. Now, it's Joe Burrow's injury. Funny enough, but it's just tiring. And I'll be honest, I'm a bad football fan because I hate when teams run the ball. I think it's boring. I'd rather guys just drop back. That's what I loved about the Bengals. But at the same time, I recognize its value in running the ball. It's boring, but it works. And when it works, you win. And it's just. There's just no continuity with that offense whatsoever. No continuity.
I think I found the issue, man. I don't know. I think my cord might be my cord connector might be tanked out, man. So you might have to go on the free screen.
All right. Well, we're gonna go free screen. How about this? We'll wrap up this show. Last thing that we wanted to talk about. This is something you wanted to bring up. Is Myles Murphy. Myles Murphy played well today. He had a sack. You thought it was a big game for Myles Murphy.
I thought it was a huge game, man, for a guy like myself who has been super critical, okay? I've been one of the biggest Myles Murphy critics, okay? Really, I have, because I felt like, first of all, why is he not getting the reps if he's a first-round pick? Right. And secondly, when he's out there, he just doesn't look like he has the juice, okay? He just hasn't. And now I talked to his brother, does come into spaces, and his brother's like, well, he is, they're wanting to go to the other side. He's not really that comfortable rushing from the other side where Sam Hubbard's at. So his reps have been kind of limited. But what we saw today from Myles, man, is very promising. Okay, very promising. And I think he's got to get as many reps as possible because the upside is there. We just got to see it. Okay, my criticism was solely based on what I saw, which was a small sample size. Okay, that's like, you freaking, you see a house, but you don't go through the full house. You just see the kitchen. Okay, and the kitchen's small. You don't like small kitchens. But what they didn't tell you is upstairs are 6 bedrooms, man. And there's another kitchen upstairs, So Myles Murphy is that. And I think they just have to give him reps. I think he can be really good for this defense. And I hate to even talk like this, Reed, because I truly do feel like it's going to be a tough season. But Myles Murphy, to me, was a key piece to this team going back to the Super Bowl this year. He was a key piece to this team going back. And why? I know he's a rookie, and people want to say, give him time. He was drafted in the first round, folks. He's got a couple $1 million in the bank. We need this guy to contribute this year, straight up. And him getting this opportunity now, though, will bode very well for the future.
Yeah, that was the solace that I took. Is like a guy like Myles Murphy is going to get more reps. Listen, when they drafted Myles Murphy, I liked the pick. I really did, because this was a guy that was, during the college football season was projected to go top 10. And then as time got closer, he fell and fell and fell, and he fell into the Bengals' lap, and they said, listen, this is a top 10 talent. It's a bit of a project, but we have time to work on a project. They did this last year with Dax Hill. They drafted Dax Hill last year in the first round, but they had Jesse Bates and Von Bell in front of them. Well, they knew that they probably weren't coming back, so they drafted for the future. Gave Dax Hill very little snaps last year. This year, he gets to start. He looks really good. I thought something similar was going to happen. I thought when they drafted Myles Murphy, it was the writing on the wall that a guy like Sam Hubbard wasn't coming back. And what did they do? They extended Trey Hendrickson. They already extended Sam Hubbard. So they drafted a pass rusher in the first round, when you have two starting defensive ends, pass rushers, locked up for 3 years. It made absolutely no sense. And then he's getting no reps and no reps and no reps. And you're just sitting there going like, what the hell were the Bengals thinking? And I applauded the Bengals for their dogma, their idea on how to build this roster, right? Spend money on the offensive side, spend draft picks on the defensive side, which was almost a flip-flop of what they did 4 years ago when the rebuild started. They spent draft picks on the offense, and they spent money on the defense. Now it's flip-flopping. But it seemed like they didn't have a plan with Myles Murphy. I think what happened is, and there's no way of knowing this, is they were sitting in the room on draft night. They were getting ready to take a tight end or somebody, and Myles Murphy falls into their lap, and they just go, okay, this guy was a top 10 talent 3 weeks ago. Why are we getting him at the end of the first round? And I said, sure, we'll pull the trigger. Hopefully it pays off. I mean, hopefully we got a steal on a premier pass rusher. I don't see it at this very moment. He's going to get opportunity now that the season's cooked. But I just disagreed with the move in general, and I hope it works out. Like I said, he's going to get an opportunity to prove himself. I hope it works out.
I apologize for the camera, man. My dog ran past.
The screenshot looks good.
The cord's a little ruffled. People might think I'm still on here moving in real time. I'm just stuck in spot. But yeah, man, I think the Myles pick, I think it will pan out, man. If I'm being honest, I do. I think today should give you solace in knowing that, okay, Myles Murphy, even if he's not TJ Watt, okay, he can be a guy who we get some reps from, and he has a quick first step. So on third down, throw him in there with Hendrickson, some type of NASCAR package, and let's get to the quarterback. And I just think, this next 6 weeks, man, whether you win or you lose, it's an evaluation of the entire roster. Okay. And look, again, I'll say it again. We're all Bengals fans. We know the spot that we're in. We know it's been a tough road to get here. We know this year was Super Bowl or bust. So everyone, I don't blame you. Some people are overly optimistic saying, well, Jake can get us to the playoffs, or some people are like, well, the season's over. I don't blame you either way, to be honest. But what I do know is that evaluate what you have, and let's continue to hold the organization to a high standard to continue to add, because this is the window. This is it. You got Joe Burrow. He got banged up, another season into injury. Don't even want to talk about that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this is the window. And if you want to go win a Super Bowl, straight up, play your butts off for these next 6 weeks and see where it lands you. And then after that, play your butts off on the offseason. Mm-hmm. Organization, Coach Taylor. You know what I mean? Let's play like we're playing for keeps. And let's stop this passive, I don't want to say what I want to say, but let's stop this, oh, well, we know who we got in the locker room and what we can do. Right. We know what we're capable of. Dude, we're down 1-3. We're 1-3 right now, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm pissed off. Mm-hmm. I'm not on the team. Mm-hmm. You should be pissed off too, coach. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, man. I don't want to go on a spiel because I feel like, this kind of hits home for all of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they have to go all out, man. And I said all that to say the Myles Murphy pick will play out. But I had to talk about the other stuff too to kind of tie it all in. You know what I mean?
Yep. Let's tie it in and wrap up this show this way. The Bengals now with the loss, they move to 5-6. They are now 0-4 in the AFC North. They are 1-6 in the AFC, so not good. Hey, but they swept the NFC West, so we still got that going for us. Their next game is going down to Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. I think it's too late for that to get flexed out. I'm surprised that they aren't going to flex it out, but all the same. The line for that game, we're looking at the Bengals as a touchdown underdog. So
dang it.
So
for real?
Yeah, right around. Not all books have put out their lines, but I'm looking at some books, and yeah, about a touchdown underdog. 7 points, 6.5 to 7 points, mostly 7. So that seems fitting to me. I don't know if you saw this, but the Jacksonville Jaguars got a win over the Houston Texans. Texans try a 55-yard field goal to tie it. At the final second, it hits off the crossbar and bounces up and misses. So
wow.
So they're 8-3. But just Eric, thank you for hopping on here. I'm sorry about your camera going down, but
no worries, dude. I'm gonna get it fixed by next week, man. Gotta get a new cord.
This was fun. The Bengals game wasn't fun, but this was fun talking pigskin. We'll be back. Chatterbox Bengals will be back next Monday Night Football. I don't know who's going to be on that show. We'll release something about it. But, yeah, Bengals 5-6. Season's over. Zach Taylor, according to our chat, is on the hot seat. He's not on the hot seat, guys. He's not on the hot seat.
He'll be back.
Play calling's on the hot seat. I truly believe that.
That's it.
But he's not on the hot seat. And, yeah, you know what? That's another thing is if we're talking about Myles Murphy, and this is what I'll wrap up the show by saying, if we're talking about Myles Murphy and all these younger guys getting reps, why not let some like Brian Callahan get some reps calling plays? See how that looks.
That's good. Dude, is he calling plays though? Did you remember last year though when they were like everyone was scrutinizing play calling, and Zach was like, "Well, we all call plays. We're all in the headset." And it's like, I call a play, and then like he says it to me, and then I give it to Joe. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
It was last season.
Yeah.
So like, is he? I don't know, man. Is he calling plays or what? You know?
I don't know. Someone asked if I played at Washington because the Drew Sample thing behind me. I see how it kind of looks like me, but that's not me. That's the goat. That's Drew Sample. That's Drew Sample. All right, guys, I'm wrapping up this show. I'll see you on Off the Bench tomorrow for the people that regularly watch Off the Bench. Just Eric, I'll see you around on Twitter, and hopefully I'll get a host with you later on this season. Hopefully the Bengals will be right around 500. At least give us something to watch. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want.
It'll be something good, man.
Everyone was talking about tanking. Other people talking, can we sneak into the postseason? My expectations, the only bar that I need the Bengals is on Sundays, I need them to entertain me for about 3 hours.
That's it.
That's my bar. I just want to have a little fun every Sunday watching a team compete. That's all I need.
That's all we need, man. Just compete. You know what I'm saying?
Compete.
That's it, brother. And I'll see you again here soon, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. See you, brother.